Good day, everyone. Welcome to Virtual Concert Hall's live music channel. Thank you for joining us today for the very exciting auditions for the opportunity to perform at Weill Recital Hall at Carnegie Hall. Our channel is dedicated to bringing live performances and events from orchestras, international stages, and soloists from around the world to our audiences around the globe. Welcome once more to Virtual Concert Hall's live music channel. I'm Ouspenskaya and I'll be hosting today's program for you. We are presenting the Gala auditions. Musicians are auditioning today for an opportunity to perform in one of the Gala concerts at the Weill Recital Hall at Carnegie Hall in New York City. And also, they are auditioning on many occasions to perform with the call orchestras worldwide. And a little bit more about that a few minutes later. We are bringing musicians through the experience of performing on the new age virtual stage, on to the most prestigious stages around the world, and namely one of them is Carnegie Hall. And today's auditions are dedicated to selecting artists who are ready to embark on this wonderful and very exciting, very nerve-wracking journey of performing on this famous stage. And auditionees who are performing today are experiencing a wide array of opportunities. It's, of course, the goal is to win the audition and to be invited to perform on that stage with the orchestra or solo and in ensemble, and for composers to have their pieces presented on that stage. But not only, in the process of auditioning, the candidates are getting an opportunity to connect with our judges and to hear the immediate feedback from the judges on how they did in the audition. That was something we all as musicians, when I was younger and grew up and was honing my skills, we were always looking for this guidance, for the immediate feedback, because music is alive. It's a live process, it's a live performance. I want to hear what effect, what impact my performance had on people who are ahead of me and more experienced in the art. And today the candidates have that opportunity. So you'll hear the judges commenting and communicating with the candidates right after each of the performances. This is a mission of the Sound Espressivo, which we started about 5 years ago, and this is how it started.
No matter where you are or who you are, music connects us all. We started with a dream, but now we are paving the future. Welcome to the Sound Espressivo Global Competition. Fully virtual, yet bringing musicians closer together than ever before, now on a global scale. True live, inclusivity, diversity, connection, community, an extraordinary array of judges. Get noticed by companies all over the world. Prizes, scholarships, performance opportunities. Apply to be a part of the most exciting congregation of artists like nothing you've ever seen before. We guarantee quality and leave no musician behind. We can't wait to hear you on the virtual stage.
Virtual stage is what will happen today. The Carnegie Gala auditions and the call orchestra auditions for orchestras worldwide are organized by Sound Espressivo, Artist Ventures, and Virtual Concert Halls. And we want to extend many, many thanks to our dear collaborators, close collaborators in this project, namely the Price Attractions, a management company which is led by Dickran Atamian, or Jack Price, and that company is providing extraordinary service to musicians and orchestras and conductors, everyone in our field, and branding and reaching out with their art so that they people can have a development in their career, not just a one-time off performance, but series of performances, and develop relationships with presenters, orchestras, and opera houses around the world so that they can continue to develop their reach. We are also very grateful to Cicerone Music and Arts. It's also an artist management company with over 30 years of experience in the field, and we are collaborating with them on recording and producing audio albums, which are then placed on all the audio platforms, Spotify, Amazon, and Apple, and whatever your favorite platform, you will be able to find those albums. This is also a very fruitful collaboration for us, and we are offering musicians to also try their hand at recording with orchestras, with ensembles, and present their new music also. We are also very, very grateful to many, many other collaborators who joined hands with us. You see on the screen, there's many pictures. These are logos of the companies, but what's very important, and I can't stress this more, the people behind those pictures are fully dedicated to developing the arts, developing the reach, and developing the audiences, and helping all of us enjoy the music making as it is alive, unfiltered, and the most beautiful dedicated music we can hear. Thank you all very much for adding your expertise, your resources, and your helpful hands to developing this project. We are also expanding our reach with every one of those collaborators, and now we're broadcasting on all the major social media and video platforms, as well as many curated platforms around the world, in Europe and Asia, in the United States and Canada, where you can see our programs going live right now. It's on many platforms and on many websites of music dedicated companies. The goal of these auditions is, as I mentioned, to help musicians develop their art and develop their careers. Both are important and both require a lot of attention, focus, dedication, and hard work. And we understand it very much. We're here to help everyone succeed. I also want to mention that our programs are expanding with the help of all of our collaborators. Everyone brings in new ideas and more resources. And I want to mention that the next auditions planned in February will be for call orchestra. The call orchestra is a newer project. It's in its third season, and we already formed collaborations with over 15 orchestras in different countries. So everyone who is watching, please consider auditioning for those opportunities. It's for soloists of all instruments and vocal soloists, as well as for composers. And here is a little trailer to give you a bit of insight. And now it's time to introduce the judges for today's session. We're very proud and very grateful to have today with us two extraordinary musicians. And let me introduce and invite to join me on stage Dickran Atamian, Jack Price. He is an acclaimed pianist with an enormous career on his back. Also, artist advocate, manager, the founder of Price Attractions, who works with many artists and arts organizations around the world for promoting arts, branding musicians, and helping everyone with their career advancement. Dickran, it's a great pleasure to have you with us, and we're looking forward to your comments.
I'm looking forward to my comments too. No.
That was very funny. I want to mention
actually, I'm looking forward to David's reactions to my comments. Yeah.
That'll be wonderful to observe too. I also want to mention that Dickran Atamian is a star of the show, which is just about to start its second season. Jack Price is Right. And I want to invite everyone to check out the show. Later, we'll show a little peek preview for everyone of what it's like. And I can assure you it's profound, it's helpful, it's controversial, and it's very funny.
That's the most important part. It's funny.
That's right.
We need more laughter in this world. Yeah.
Yep. And now I would like to invite to join me on stage here the conductor, David Wroe, music director of Manhattan Orchestra, which is part of our program at Carnegie Hall. Also, we are so honored to have that orchestra participating in the recording of the albums project. The next concert of the orchestra on a Carnegie stage is scheduled for April 30th, and for May 1st, we have a recording session scheduled also in New York for the second album. David, you're a wonderful musician, and it's such a pleasure to have you with us. I'm looking forward to your comments very much.
Thank you, Anna, for that lovely introduction. It's a delight to join you both.
Thank you. All right. Now, without any further ado, are we all ready for the candidates to step on the virtual stage and present their auditions?
We're ready.
We're ready.
As ready as we can be. All right. Our first candidate today is Jacquelyn White, the vocalist, who will be performing Mozart's aria Vado, ma dove. Jacquelyn, the stage is all yours. Best of luck. Wonderful. Thank you so much for that delightful aria. Your sweetest voice. To the judges now. David would like to comment first.
Yes. Hello, Jacquelyn.
Hello.
David here. It's a delight to meet you, and it's a delight to get to know your artistry.
Thank you so much.
Out of interest, where are you right now?
I'm in Connecticut.
Connecticut.
Yes.
Jolly good. Well, I'm just a little further south than you in New Jersey.
Oh, nice.
I have a question. I have a second question for you.
Yes.
At the beginning of your career, where did you start out as? Did you start out as a mezzo or a soprano, or talk to me about the development of your vocal history, if you like?
Yes. So I started out as a mezzo, and then it was discovered as time went on that I was a soprano. I was singing, and I think that to my high school chorus director, actually, she was the one who introduced me to opera back in high school. And then from there on, I went into college and started to sing with local opera companies and performing choruses, and took some years off. And now here I am back at it. And I have such a love for opera that I wanted to pursue it with my whole heart. And so I'm just putting myself out there to sing again. And here I am.
Wow. That's a beautiful motivation, and it sounds as though you're very much in control of control of your life, and you have a balanced approach to a dream that you're wanting to realize.
Yes.
Which in itself is 50%.
Yes.
Being of sane mind and
Yes.
realistic mind is 50% of practicing the art of the vocal arts.
Yes. Yes. I realized that, and I took way too much time off, and I realized waking up every day, I'm like, I want to sing. I love opera. I love to sing. And so I just was like, I can't go another day and not do it. So,
okay. So here are some thoughts on your presentation, and it was brief, and it's a little difficult for us to sometimes come up with constructive observations and constructive criticisms in such a small amount of time.
Right.
And an aria which is, it's a beautiful aria. It's a little limited in what it potentially can show what you're capable of. However, what it did show is, let's talk a little about that.
Okay.
Firstly, you have a really beautiful sense of line.
Thank you.
And as a singer, I think I'm assuming you know what I mean by that. You phrase in a lovely way.
Thank you.
And just the legato progression from note to note is really quite lovely.
Thank you. I've practiced that.
I can see you practice that, and you take it very seriously, and you recognize that is an innate beauty of singing, which is very, very important. It tells me that you're hearing what you are singing.
Yes.
And that might be stating the obvious to some, but it's not always the case. You have the critical ability to create a sound and make a judgment call on it immediately, and either alter it or build on it. However, I would say only to a certain extent, and I'm going to come back to a constructive criticism to qualify what I mean by that.
Okay.
Secondly, you quite clearly you love this aria. You sung it very expressly, and it had a sweet melancholy to it, which you brought to it, which was again lovely. Now, only in the interest of time, I'm to go on to the things that I might recommend you think about. And it's more technical than anything else, so which is good news. Which is, I think, it means that it's fixable.
Okay.
Your middle range. I think I'm not a singing teacher. I've worked with many singers in my life, and so I have some working knowledge of the whole singing world and the technical elements of singing. But your middle range needs, I think, more support and more policing.
Okay.
So once in a while, the intonation gets a little off.
Okay.
Typically, it drops a little. It's just a little flat sometimes in the middle range. It's not, to my ear, it didn't get sharp. So that's maybe a support issue, which might be coming from, not from your nose or not from the throat, but down, lower.
Right. Right.
And that leads me to the second thing, which is your breathing. I'm wondering whether there is too much air escaping when you produce your tone, particularly in the middle range, which results in a number of things. I'm guessing. One is it's not so well supported, and so the intonation it starts to get a little off. But secondly, and this is a technical stroke artistic issue, you run out of breath, which forces you to breathe in musically inappropriate moments.
Yes.
So, for example, the very first phrase in the legato, in the adagio, when the aria got going, you sung quite lyrically with great line, and I can't remember the exact phrase, but you went da da dee 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 da da da. And that wasn't the exact line, that wasn't the phrase, but just to demonstrate. You ran out of breath 3 notes before the end.
Yes.
It's a bit like a car running out of gasoline before you drive into your garage.
Yes. Yes.
And so, at the risk of repeating myself, I'm wondering whether if you work on just letting less air escape during your phrase, making the sound a little more concentrated, so the voice is spinning with tone a little more and not quite as breathy. So you're holding in more air, which not only purifies the sound a little, but it also allows you to get to the end of the phrase, destroying the music. Now, destroying the music, that's way too violent a description. I want to be tough on you to try and force you never manipulate the music to suit your technique, but always start from how should the music go, and you figure out a way how to where the line should go, and you figure out a way how to do it.
Yes.
So those, and by the way, sometimes singers can't get through phrases because they just pick too slow a tempo.
Yeah.
I don't think this is the case. I think I liked your tempo. It had a gentle forward movement. So what tells me that you're not completing the phrase with the gasoline that you have in the tank, because there's a leak in the tank somewhere.
Yes. Yes. I definitely understand what you're saying. Yes. Right. I think it was because I'm singing with the recording from YouTube. It definitely allow the nerves to kick in. So I think that had a lot to do with me doing quick breaths and trying to get through to make sure I'm staying with the accompanist on YouTube.
Yeah.
So yes.
Well, so what I would say, and I'm overstepping my time, but I'll just complete by saying, be very tough with yourself in your own private practice. Even step back a little from the espressivo and the emotion of the piece, to discipline yourself, to hold the breath and support, to get that whole phrase within the one breath that you need it to get in, and then build upon the musicality.
Got it.
Because that will solidify your technique and make that second nature, to then add the natural talent, musical talent that you have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jacquelyn. I enjoyed what you did.
Thank you so much.
David, thank you very much. And I want to add that sometimes orchestras can be as unbending as the recording, but that's not the case with Orchestra Manhattan under the baton of Maestro David Wroe. All right. Dickran, let's hear some comments from you, please.
David, I just don't know what to say. I mean, I was reading your bio while you were doing all that.
It's all lies.
What can I say? Salieri, you know? No, I'm just kidding. You remember that line in Amadeus? You know, when one hears such sounds, it's Salieri. You know, not to say you're Salieri. You're more like Mozart. You know? Anyway, where's the posse? I need to be rescued. I really need to be rescued. You are unbelievable. What an adjudicator. I mean, this is adjudication at the highest level, right, Jacquelyn?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So I have only one thing to say. I thought it was phenomenal. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, since there's no more extra comments from Jack Price, I want to also show a little preview of the season. Jack Price is right. This is an extraordinary packed show with a lot of comments and a lot of general suggestions and controversial questions and problems solved and problems put out unsolved and a lot of humor. Let's just see a little bit of a preview of that. So the first season of the show started back in July, and that was the start day of the first season, and we are preparing to launch the second season. So I like the part in that little video where it says "No BS." Try to transcribe it whichever way you want. And Jacquelyn, it was a great pleasure to open the session with your beautiful voice. Thank you so much for applying, and thank you for adorning our auditions with your graceful voice.
Thank you, Jacquelyn.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, and with that, we will be moving on to the next candidate, and that is Matthew Wang, pianist, who will be performing the Chopin Waltz in A-flat major, Opus 42. Matthew, the stage is all yours. Best of luck. Bravo, Matthew. Thank you so much for bringing a dance. I was dancing along with you. What a beautiful piece and great performance. Let's start with Dickran commenting, please.
Okay, let me tell you, I can't hear what's everybody's breaking up now. So I didn't hear a lot of that performance, but I'll comment on what I heard. But even you, Anna, are breaking up here when you're talking. So I don't know what's going on with my audio. I have no idea.
Jack,
It's
Jack,
crystal clear video, but you know,
yeah, Jack, you might need to just restart
yeah,
your computer and log in, and we'll wait for you to log back in after after commenting. So let's do that because the sound and
okay,
everything
all
is
right,
fine
all
for
right. So
everyone.
anyway,
Please go ahead.
okay, well, I just couldn't hear anything. Anyway, so Matthew, great job. From what I heard, there, I don't know, but there are a couple of technical problems. Usually, I'm quite articulate about these things, but I just couldn't hear. I think you're very gifted, and it's wonderful playing, but I think you're trying to make these Chopin waltzes into showpieces, and they're actually waltzes. Okay, I mean, I hear this all the time. When I heard Weissenberg play all the waltzes in Carnegie, and then he played the four ballades, and it was just, I can't even tell you how disappointing it was. It was just floundering all over the place because he's trying to play them faster and louder than anybody that ever lived. You know, these pieces have to be like the mazurkas. They're miniatures, right? These are not big pieces, okay? And they're parts of his life in a way, like that A flat impromptu. It's one of the most fantastic. I just heard an unbelievable performance of that. How does it go, Anna? What's that impromptu?
You
Yeah,
mean the
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the one. I hear the most magnificent performance of my lifetime of that piece. I swear, I thought God was speaking. So going to that performance versus this, these pieces are personal statements on the composer's very being. I don't think they are showpieces. I don't even think the etudes are. That's the problem with the etudes, is that they're played faster and louder than anybody's ever heard. I mean, everybody can do them, let's be honest. Some girl called the other day and said, Jack, I'm Swiss, and I play all of the Paganini caprices upside down, hanging from a trapeze. My answer to that was, and you get it? It's all been done before, Matthew. It's all been done before. So let's cut to the chase. You have all the talent, you have the fingers, you have the sound. Just quit rushing. Not really rushing. I would say you have. I heard your performance enough to know you got these edited moments, like Anthony Hopkins making the greatest movie in the world, and the editor screws the whole movie up at the end. There's no movie. Okay, there's no movie because the edit job was so bad. Your editor has to be phenomenal. Okay, he's the movie. Okay, in your case, you've got to bridge moods and nuances and textures together much more convincingly. I mean, all of a sudden we're going, I mean, what is that? I mean, let's keep everything concrete. Okay. Now, in the spirit of keeping everything in the same tempo, I don't mean that. I'm the most unorthodox, unconventional person walking the planet. So I'm not into, da da dum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum. That's not what I'm talking about. These pieces are so phenomenal. I remember playing a lot of them in my youth. Like the first one, dum ba dum bum ba dum bum ba dum. You can't just keep playing. What is that? I mean, it says absolutely nothing about the person. Just cut out all this superfluous stuff that you think some jury wants to hear. They don't even know what you're doing. Okay. Most of them are falling asleep like John Quincy Adams when he went back to the Congress after being president. He put his feet up on the guy's next, those wooden chairs they had, and he fell asleep. He said, "I've forgotten what you know." You know what that means? That means everybody on stage, all the senators and everything, he's forgotten all that they know when he was 11 years old. That's what kind of a brain Quincy Adams was. He was a genius. There's no need for all this. We already know. Okay, not that we're all geniuses. I mean, come on. Play this waltz like a waltz, Play the Mazurka Opus 17, number 1, like a mazurka, like the national dance of Poland. Don't try to put all this technical stuff in there and show off and play it as fast as Long played it last week in Victoria Hall in Geneva. We don't need to hear that. I don't even like his playing. I'll make it known right now. You are yourself, Matthew Wang, right? Okay, so you're not Yuja Wang. Are you related to her?
No.
You are?
No.
No, you're not. Okay. I did not think you understood. Yeah, you're not. You're not really. Thank God, right? No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, so be yourself. Be true to yourself. Play the music as you interpret it. Exactly from the very first time you look at the notes. Don't infuse it with what you think I want to hear, or David wants to hear, or Anna wants to hear, or Bolette wanted to hear, or for Kuzhny, he was on my juries all the time. Watts. Who cares what Andre Watts thinks? He's dead. Okay? Be yourself. Andre never cared anyway. He didn't give a crap about it. I mean, he was another very organic guy, but there are complications there why he played the way he did later in life versus how he played when he was 26. I mean, I heard a recital at 26. I thought the world ended with that recital, but unfortunately things happen. So don't let them happen to you. You're a victim of everything you've ever heard. That's the problem. Knock it off. Just be yourself. Okay.
Thank you, Jack, for a wonderful comment. It takes a lot of courage to be yourself and a lot of digging deep into what it is you are. Let's hear from David.
Yes. Hello, Matthew. David Wroe here. A pleasure to meet you, and thank you for that performance. Where are you, Matthew, right now?
I am actually in Toronto, Canada.
Aha.
Yeah.
Jolly good.
I like that treble clef behind you.
Well, we're putting 25% tariffs on your performance right now. No, I'm joking. So
It's so bad, man.
So, Matthew, there's a lot that I enjoyed about what you did, and your performance portrays that you're a very diligent pianist, and you have clearly put a lot of work into this, and bravo for that. You're a serious pianist, I can see, and you take music and you take playing the piano very seriously. That's great. Welcome to the diaspora of the musical world. Secondly, no, not secondly. You know what? I'm going to build a little on what Mr. Atamian said, and try and home it in a little to be a little more specific in certain ways. I would agree with Richie in that it was a little, well, and I don't know whether he was saying this, but it was a little generic. you've learnt it. You've nearly got it under your fingers. There were, as you know, just a couple of hiccups, but that could have been nerves. But I'm not worried about that. I would say you need to search for more of your musical personality in it, drawn from understanding the music itself. For example, in this piece, there are many, like many Chopin pieces, there are 4-bar phrases, and then it's repeated, and there might be just a little change here and there. And this piece, it's over and over again. There's repeated musical ideas changed a little every 4 or 8 bars. I would search for more variety the second time you play the phrase. Don't just rely on Chopin's adding a few notes in the right hand to make it slightly different, but find more variety, find more intensity or dynamic difference, or a different shade or a slightly different character to say what Chopin's saying. So if I say, Matthew Wang, I love you, I can't then say, if the composer forces me to say that again, I can't say, Matthew Wang, I love you. No, I'm going to say, firstly, I say, Matthew Wang, I love you. Matthew, I love you. That's a silly example.
Yeah.
Variety, when you repeat that measure 5 to 8, that's just a start of finding nuance. And Jack was talking about just slowing it down a little, not treating it as a showpiece, but start making music out of it. Does that make any sense, Matthew?
Yeah, I understand.
There's so much delicacy and play, and absolutely, it's a waltz. It's not a showpiece. You can get a little more of a swing in it, and this piece to me has a smile on its face. So a lightness, but as well as some bravado, but bravado with the context of the music, not to show off. Bravado of happiness and confidence and joy, not a bravado of look what hot shit I am. So it's another way of saying
no cursing on this.
Sorry, it's another way of saying spend much more time searching for the musicality in this. Forget the technique. You're another hour or 2 hours or 1 week of practicing the technique's not going to make it that much better for you. You might play it differently in a year's or 2 or 3 years' time. So forget the technique and mastering the technique of it, but spend all the time you have to spend on this piece searching to bring it musically alive. And if that means to deconstruct it a little and reconstruct it by taking it a little slower and then rebuilding it, then don't be afraid to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Matthew, do you have any questions for the judges?
No, I understand like what's the ideas that are being conveyed. So I'm
okay. Wonderful. Well, to summarize, I think the judges loaded you with a task of adding more complication, more nuance, more delicacy, more polish to every turn of that piece, of the musical turn of that piece. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard that addressed to me, and every time it feels like an overwhelming task. Oh, now I have to redo the whole thing. But I want to share with you the journey of experimenting gets more and more engaging and more fun as you do that. You just kind of need to ditch the fear that while experimenting, you're going to lose the ability to play the piece the way you played it today. You are going to lose that. So just ditch that fear, because once you lose it, you're going to discover something much more. And that's all about experimenting with every phrase and stretching it and compressing it and looking for just that, oh yeah, feeling. This is how it's going to sound.
Absolutely agreed.
Yeah. All right, Matthew, thank you very much for bringing this piece. Playing Chopin is on auditions like this is a very courageous act, and I commend you for doing that. And thank you for your beautiful performance. You're very talented. Looking forward to hearing again. We will be moving on to our next candidate, Clara Chi, violin. Will be presenting Tchaikovsky Concerto in D major, Opus 31, first movement. Clara, the stage is all yours. Looking forward to hearing your performance. Oh my, that's a monumental piece to pull off. Clara, would you please introduce your collaborative pianist who pulled this enormous orchestral part right now live?
This is Miss Alina Kostova. Hello.
Welcome. Thank you very much for bringing the orchestra on stage. That's quite a part to, we call pianists accompanists, but this part, I've played it, it's quite challenging. And for the orchestra, but especially when it's when you have two hands, put it into the so-called piano score, it's unplayable. Bravo. Wonderful. Okay. Yeah, let's hear from the conductor. Maestro David Wroe, please, your comments.
All right. Hello, Clara. This is David Wroe. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Clara, where are you coming from right now? Where are you?
I'm in Weston, Connecticut.
Ah, okay. Wow, Connecticut seems to breed some great musicians. Yeah. We had someone else from Connecticut earlier on today. And are you in college, or are you in high school, or are you post-college? Where are you in your life?
Oh, no, I'm in Juilliard pre-college. I'm a high school senior.
Jolly good, jolly good. Clara, this is nothing short of phenomenal playing from someone like yourself. This is exceptional. And this is a massive first movement, isn't it? Where to start? Firstly, this is something that you are equipped to play quite clearly, notwithstanding, just a couple of hiccups, but that I suspect is not to do with limitations on your technique, but just probably stamina issues and pacing yourself just a little better so you don't get your proverbial knickers in a twist through being tense and the like. Would you agree on that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm sure you've played some of those passages before and there's been no hiccups.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so not worried about the technical, just a few moments. It happens to us all. Secondly, wow, you have put a huge amount of work into this. It is very, very well prepared. Thank you for that. How long have you been studying this work?
Like 6 months, and then I paused it. I was doing Sibelius, and then I came back to it for auditions.
Ah, interesting. So you came back to it.
Yeah.
Talk to me very briefly about how that was when you came back to it. Was it easier, even though you hadn't practiced it? Was it easier, or did you have to kind of start from scratch again?
Not completely start from scratch again, but it was kind of hard to get back on, especially the whole thing. Like I find the first half much easier because I'm much more secure with that. But overall, it was more of a struggle getting it back.
Interesting. Okay. Because sometimes when you leave something and then you come back, some of the issues, just because of a slight release of tension and you're a little more relaxed, some of the issues seem to have solved themselves through some kind of mystical fermentation. And I was just interested whether that happened or not. But anyway, that's maybe for another conversation. I think within a microcosm, you have thought very hard about every single phrase, and which is very impressive. And you put a lot of thought, design, and musicality into every phrase. That's clear. And every section, subsection, and then every section. And so within the context, within the smaller context, within the micro concept of looking at this piece, it is very, very well done, really well done. At a very, very high level. If I were to make any comments, constructive observations or constructive criticisms, I would say talk to certain elements of this piece which many people struggle with, which is putting the whole thing together for it to look like a grand mansion and not lots of little moments of successfully executed phrases, but creating a journey, which I think this has to be, this first movement. It's that big, it's that grand. It has an arc to it. So it's debatable, isn't it, what that arc is? And that's where interpretation comes into play. I can only speak for my own personal tastes, that I see the opening exposition as has a bravado to it and a virtuosity for virtuosic sake, and therefore I would have liked to have seen a little more bravado and a little less caution in the exposition. In the development, Tchaikovsky is doing a bit what he's trying to do, a kind of cheap word version of Beethoven, isn't he? In that he's working through the material in the classic development style of sonata form, and you get moments of slight boredom, and then, in my opinion, and some great moments of ingenuity. And I'm going to come back to, I'm mentioning that for a reason, because it might, I've a little advice on perhaps how to approach some of that passage work. But then in the recapitulation, if you want to call it, in the sonata form construction of this, I think that's some of the most expressive and best music, because he's returning the music, but he's having a certain honesty and passion to it that goes beyond pure showmanship, in my opinion. And so I think you could, and you were bringing some of that out, but I think you could bring a little more of that out. So let me go in a little more detail of those three elements: the exposition, the development, and then the recap. I thought you were too cautious in the exposition. And you could have shown that eagerness and forward momentum right from the very, very first note that you played. When the pianist came in, went da dum 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 da yam ta di no da dum da dum da dum da dum da dum da dum pa di da di di di. Yeah, it was a little too oh, thank you very much for that intro. Oh, it's my turn now. Oh, I'll start. No, knit it together. Almost push her out of the way. Almost don't wait for her to finish that note. Don't do that rallentando in the accompaniment. Anticipate that very first note. Push her off stage and force yourself on stage and say, I'm here. To me, this is the character of this massive, grand Russian concerto. Right?
David, what do you really think?
And then these interjections, little arpeggiated interjections between yourself and the accompanist, the accompanying. Compete with her, compete with the orchestra. It's a battle, a fun battle, not a complimentary. You're not gently holding the hand of your partner in a nice Sunday afternoon walk in the park. No, you're having fun with them. Yes? So bring out the bravado, bring out the competition in that exposition. That would be be a little more adventurous and a little, not aggressive, but a little more playful. That's what I would suggest with the exhibition. Now, in the development, there's a lot of passage work there. In those double stop da 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 da. I would think more beauty, because it was a little hacked.
Yeah.
And the music's a little hacked anyway. It's a little derivative. Okay, let's get through the B flat major. Okay, now let's get through the F major arpeggiation. Okay, now let's move to E flat major. Okay, now let's move to G major. He's working it through. So we have to add a little more musicality to it and grace to it. Don't make it sound like chopping wood. I love you, Clara, and so I'm just getting to the point. You understand?
Yeah.
So maybe is it a little more sweet, a little more right hand, a little more gentle swing on those bows as you're playing those upward development arpeggiations. I know it's difficult, but try and make it a little sweeter. And then do more, moving into the final third of the piece, do more of what you were already doing, which was, I could tell you were getting into it and really enjoying it. So you were playing those phrases which appeared in the exposition, but you were playing them with more passion, and you were playing them with more espressivo and honesty, actually, which I loved. And you can just continue doing that. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, it was like 11, but I want it to be a 12. Thank you, Clara.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. Thank you very much. Richie, would you like to add something to the comments?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Please.
First of all, Clara, I can't see you. Can you show me your face?
Yeah, sorry.
I can't see your face.
Is this better?
Yeah, the light behind you
so
makes
I
it
know.
difficult.
All right, so I know who you are. I mean, otherwise, it's like all sun coming in through that crazy window of yours there. Now, do me a favor, since we have all the time in the world.
No, you don't.
Watch. Okay, Clara, play the opening of the concerto right now. Just play your opening. Okay, that's good. Yeah, my question is, why don't you play the whole concerto like that? I want you to answer that question. That was some of the most personal playing and in tune playing and all this syntax nonsense that everybody talks about in competitions. You've got it all. So why don't you just play the whole concerto like that? And that's a loaded question, so you better think about what I'm saying, because you don't want to give me the wrong answer, because I get very angry.
Well, Clara, don't worry. Mr. Price is very far away. His anger is not going to affect you one bit. Go ahead and speak up.
And my wrath knows no limits. Just remember that.
Right.
I can reach out and touch someone from here. Okay.
No, you can't. Okay, Clara.
So
that's
Clara,
an important question.
Yeah, it's an important question. So, and we'll preface it by several prefaces by saying, if you give me the wrong answer, I'm going to chop your head off. Okay, so think about it. Why do you not play the whole? I know how you're going to play the rest of the concerto. I already know. At your age, I know how you're going to play it in 20 years. I know how you're going to play it close to your death. Okay, so it doesn't matter these little time elements. I know. I heard, sometimes you hear that voice in someone's playing, and it's formidable playing. I mean, but you have to understand there are many things wrong with it. Okay. And you might as well nip it in the bud at your age. I don't care if you're 11 years old, it doesn't matter. I mean, I hear people, as we all do, at various ages, and you might as well just tackle the problem now. So, why do you not play the whole concerto like that?
I think it's because I'm too focused on not making a mistake. So I get caught up in not. I try to make it personal, but I get caught up in like perfectionism and what if it sounds wrong. So that's why I don't play it as well as I could.
Yeah,
Good answer.
that's a very good answer. That's yeah.
Looking over
But
your shoulder and being mindful of being judged. Yeah, that's a very good answer.
but
To you, Jack.
yeah. No, I agree with you, Anna, and with David. But the problem with music today, and probably in any day, and competitions, and all of this, just it's such minutia. I mean, it's like I can't stand it. I just can't stand it. But there's some truth in evil things, like necessary evils. We call competitions a necessary evil. We call competition in general a necessary evil because it brings out the best in us, and it's not really true. You have to absolutely be true to yourself. That's the only way any of this is going to make any sense to you or to me or to anyone else. If you try to be something you're not, whether it's good or bad, like I can say, Andrei Korsakov was a fantastic Soviet violinist. Nobody knows about him. He's Natasha Korsakova's father. He was a brilliant artist, but Natasha's better. Why? She just is. She's like an unbelievably gifted musician. One of my very favorites of all time, forever, and it'll never change. But she has something you do not have at the moment, and you can acquire it. And that is she's always true to herself. She doesn't try to be Joshua Bell or, Shamil Ashkenazi. I know all of them, Shlomo Mintz, what's his name? Krisztian Ferras, who was a fantastic violinist and musician. Michael Rabin, she's herself. Korsakova is Korsakova. And that's what makes her playing absolutely stunning. And you can be that stunning if you just get rid of one thing. You know what it is? It starts with a C.
I don't know the exact word, but maybe uh, inner voices, like in my head.
Well, that's good. No, it's called convention.
Oh, okay.
You are worried about convention, and everybody on this freaking planet is worried about convention. I am not. At least on a human level, I hate convention. I hate policemen. I hate judges. I hate piano teachers. I hate everything that is conventional. I cannot stand any of these people. I hate wives. I hate presidents. I hate anyone in authority, anyone that's going to tell you what to do, anybody that's going to take you away from your path. Well, especially teachers. I mean, really, they're morons. Let's be honest. Okay, so you have
no cursing on this show.
Yeah. Okay, that's very funny. I mean, I'm putting myself in there too. You have to be your own teacher. You have to judge yourself. You have to teach yourself. It's all from the innovation of all of your ideas from other, you have other influences, okay? So, I studied with John Perry, and, people used to say, the New York Times said he's grunting, like John Perry at the end of certain phrases because John grunted. Okay, well, I'm over that. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? It's, you are what you are, and for a while you start emulating people. And the greatest teacher in the world is the teacher who doesn't teach you to emulate them, but teaches you to think on your own, who teaches the thought process that you're going to take with you for the rest of your life. That's a great teacher, not Dorothy DeLay and all these names. I mean, she couldn't teach her way out of a paper bag, and I don't care what anybody says. That's my opinion, okay? Galamian was a great teacher because he was Armenian like me.
And that's the only reason
Ivan was a great teacher. He used to talk about white, what did he call Young-ok Kim? White fire. A fire that doesn't burn, but it's hot. That's what he called Young-ok's tone. And I played with Young-ok. We did a PBS show. This guy was a phenomenal musician, very intense. But his light burned out early, because of politics and stuff. So you might not know Cookie Chung or, Kyunghwa Chung or Young-ok Kim. They were two of the greatest. They were the two great Korean virtuosos of any instrument. Her brother was great, Myung-hoon Chung, the conductor and the pianist. He won the Tchaikovsky, actually, but it's not his true calling. Anyway, the point is, he's a great conductor, but I'm getting off the subject. You have got to be true to yourself and forget about convention. Let me see, are those the two things? True to yourself and forget about what anybody thinks, and forget about what your mother thinks passing you by while you're practicing. I know a pianist or a person whose parents will pass her by and say, "Oh, how come you're playing so cold?" And she's one of the most passionate people I've ever met in my life. And I said, if you listen to that voice, you're dead. You're dead. You're walking dead. You just haven't been buried. But if you listen to your own voice, like I do, I mean, I'm just being facetious now, but I can't stand convention. There is no teacher in the world that can teach me more than myself. Nobody. And I will stand by that. And they all hate me for it. Mind you, you will have your enemies will be members of your own family. Yeah, Jesus said that. And it's absolutely true, whether you believe in him or not. His words ring loud across the centuries. Your friends and family will be your enemies. Why? Because they have to make a choice. They have to make a choice. Do they go for convention, or do they go for themselves, for their voice, for their originality? You can play, I know every inch of that concerto, like when you're going, I mean, first of all, don't demand out of the violin what the violin cannot give. You're the most demanding musician I've ever heard. I mean, you're like pushing the limits of that concerto at the age of what, 15 or 16? What are you? I don't know. It doesn't matter.
I'm 17.
Yeah, 17. Who cares? The point is, you're asking the violin to deliver. I did the same thing. The New York Times said that very same thing. He's striving for sounds that no piano can deliver. But in that, it was very visceral, exciting, poetic playing, and that's what you're doing. You are really communicating. Now, just temper it. Cut out all the excesses. You know where you're excessive. I don't need to tell you. I mean, all that stuff David was talking about, that derivative dribble that I call. Look, let's face it, all these composers, like, you know what Tchaikovsky reminds me of? Rodrigo, derivative dribble. Yeah, I mean, he's a lousy composer, but he's a great composer. And what you have to do is help him along. You understand? There are only about 6 composers you don't have to help. Shall I name them? Brahms, Schubert, Mozart, Schumann, Beethoven, Bach, and wow, isn't it interesting? They all have German descent. The Germans are the best. They're all German. So anything that's not German, I'm sorry, is derivative dribble. They did it all. I mean, there's no piece by Chopin. Are you kidding, Chopin? I like Liszt better than Chopin. He's far more innovative. He's a phenomenal genius, and all they did was put him down. Yeah, he's a virtuoso. He quit the piano at 30, started composing and conducting. He did everything. I mean, Liszt is one of the real prophets of all time. And what did they do? They stone the prophets, do they not? Don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they do. I don't know if you're a believer or not, but I don't care. The point is, anyone who's prophetic gets stifled. So just cut it out. You're not going to win. You can't fight City Hall. City Hall has all the politics and all the money. You're not going to beat these moronic judges and lawyers. They're all in cahoots to keep them in stitches. They're not interested in you. Just like the Clyburn's not interested in its winners. It's only interested in the Clyburn. The Naumburg is only interested in the Naumburg. Oh, but they use their winners. Oh, yeah. You should see my page on the Naumburg Manifest. Whoa. All this made-up stuff. They even lie about me. Just be true to yourself. Do it exactly the way you want to do it. If you're wrong, be wrong. If you like the guy said it, your wrong notes are better than anyone's right notes.
That's a good compliment to get.
You play unbelievably well, and you need to just forget about all the excesses. Oh, I got to play this faster because Joshua Bell fakes it, and he, I mean, I know all these guys playing. You just don't even have to tell me. I have no axe to grind. I'm a retired loser pianist, okay? I haven't touched the piano in 18 years except the other day. And I don't give a crap what anybody thinks. I'm telling what's more important to me is your future. The future of other people who are going to carry on the mantle. So don't screw around. You don't have any time. You're 17, before you know you'll be 77. And you'll say, where did the time go? Where I'm saying it now. What happened? I just woke up in some daze this morning and where am I? Oh yeah, I'm in Folsom, California, where Johnny Cash did the Folsom Prison album and put Folsom on the map. And where am I? You've got to get your crap together. Okay, you are too talented to do this kind of nonsense, this Mickey Mouse stuff. Play the concerto. That opening is as good as I've ever heard it. Wouldn't you say, David? I mean, it's like, and Anna, it's like the voice of God. It's just absolutely, he's communicating through this little person. Like Mozart. You think Mozart was doing it? No, it was just using him. Just do what you're told to do by, yourself and the higher power. You don't need a teacher. You don't need people to go, oh yeah, you missed that note. It's just so ridiculous. Like, who cares? But you won't miss it. You won't miss it if you do what I say. Just pace everything. When you arrive at these arrival points, don't delay these arrival points by, going to the bathroom on the penultimate note. That's what you're doing sometimes. You're hesitating before the downbeat, which is the principal note, and you're making all these superfluous notes sound important. They're not. It's derivative dribble. Get to the point. Like in that spiccato section, dum bum 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 bum. That's all just that's just ridiculous writing. Okay, and then that dun 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 dun, those trills you do out of nowhere. That was not organic because you thought, oh, I've heard Perlman goes really fast there. It makes no sense. It's not that Perlman's bad. It's just that you're doing what he does or somebody else does and not what you want to do. Do it the way you want to do it. I swear, you will be the winner. You will have a success deluxe, okay? Yeah, that's the end.
Thank you, Jack.
I get it, Anna. Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this was really, really profound. And Clara, I hope you find these comments helpful. You can always visit them again because this broadcast is going to stay available for everyone to watch again. And you'll find more and more nuance and depth as you watch the comments again, maybe later in the future. And take it to your teacher. You're a wonderful musician, and you're so prepared to be to becoming a wonderful artist as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
We will be moving on to the last but not the least performer of this audition session, and I'm reminding everyone we are in the middle of auditioning candidates for an opportunity to perform within the 7th concert gala season at Weill Recital Hall at Carnegie Hall, and we have wonderful 2 judges joining us and sharing their insight immediately with the fresh commenting Maestro David Wroe, music director of the Orchestra Manhattan, and Jack Price, aka Dickran Atamian, a wonderful pianist, artist advocate, and the founder of the Price Attractions Management Company. We will be inviting on stage David Grant, pianist, who will be presenting Mozart Piano Concerto number 14. David, the stage is all yours. We're looking forward to your performance. We're ready for you, David.
Oh, hi. Yes. Before I begin, Henry? Yes. I just would like to very quickly introduce Henry Wellesby, the general manager of Steinway & Sons in Phoenix, Arizona, and my wonderful host for today.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much for supporting.
Of course. Thank you.
Yeah. I obviously have no orchestra here with me, and I will spare you any singing. If it's okay, I won't necessarily wait for what would be the tutti to play out in its entirety. So I can count.
Of course.
I can't count. So just okay. So shall I?
Yes, please, anytime. We're ready for you.
still connected? I don't know what's happening.
You can continue.
Oh, okay. Seems like cleared out the room. Oh no.
Wow. That was
Does that mean
incredible.
okay?
Incredible, bravo. What a
I've never
different
heard anything
universe.
like that. Yeah, it was like totally.
So
Yeah.
I didn't get much, almost no sleep last night, so
Oh, come on.
Looks good. Let's hear from the judges. Richie, would you like to go first?
Yeah. I've never heard anything like that in my life. You know, it's really funny. Things just come full circle. So you're in Phoenix, right? So that's where I grew. Yeah, that's where I grew up. I mean, I spent most of my life in Phoenix, and I made my debut with the Phoenix Symphony with that concerto.
Really?
At East High School. You know where East High School is?
Not, I've barely been in Phoenix 2 years.
Yeah, well, go to East High School. It was very modern at the time. The architecture was very modern, and we didn't play at Symphony Hall. This was one of those ad hoc. I remember the conductor, an Israeli guy named Browdy, something like Michel Browdy, and it was really funny. Anyway, this concerto, don't you agree, Anna, is like the greatest concerto. It's
I
like
love this guy. I love this guy. I used to, before I moved out of LA, I used to have this recording on a loop. I adored this piece of music, and
oh yeah, I mean it's the greatest concerto. It's absolutely sensational. I played this with David Amram once. Do you remember him?
oh yes, yes.
You know, David was Leonard Bernstein's first composer in residence at the Philharmonic. He did Splendor in the Grass, you know, with Robert Redford and Natalie Wood. I mean, very big name at one time. Yeah, anyway, David conducted this, and he said, do you have a personal connection to this piece, you know, or something like that? And I said, well, yeah, you know. Anyway, getting to really, there's so many connections here, it's beyond belief. Really beyond belief. This concerto is an unbelievable piece. You played that in such a fresh way. Of course, you know, everybody's going to have their own opinion. I'll say a couple of comments, but there's no point. You play it so fast, but see, if you played it any slower, it wouldn't have your flavor. You know what I'm saying? So David's flavor is David's flavor. You know.
Now, when you say that, which are you speaking just in general, all the movements?
Oh no, in general, you play faster than anyone I know. I mean, first, oh, absolutely. I mean, it's too. I can't hear everything, and I don't think it's the acoustics. It's your whole approach to the piano. It's not clear, but I don't care. You know what I mean? It's like I'm super. If anything anyone could say about me, my playing is very clean, but it would lose its David flavor if you played it like anyone else. You see, yeah, there are clarity problems, there's scalar things, but you have a fantastic technique. It's very fluid and very. If you slowed it down just a little bit, I would hear every note. Like, who can hear that stuff in the left hand in the last movement? If the eighth note quavers are going da dum bum 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 da 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 da, no, those are the quarters. I don't hear one of those turns clearly, but musically and even technically, in some strange perverted way, it's absolutely there, but it's not there, but it's there. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, like the opening should be like the Emperor, in my opinion. It should be even those rolled chords. Every note should be there, I forgot that I haven't played this since I was 11. So, it's like absolutely stunning, but it's not, I don't think it's what the composer intended, but then again, Mozart didn't hear you play it. So had he heard you play it, it's possible.
I often consider when especially when I think back to school, you have these purists who say that certain music should only be played on certain period instruments and all that.
No, I know all that. Okay, let's not waste time. I know all that. The point is, what is the nth point is, that's what I always say on the show, everybody says, that's really annoying, Richie, that is so annoying. But this country bumpkin named what was his name? Jeff Campbell used to say that all the time to John Perry. The nth point is, and I'd say, God, stop talking like that. What he's saying is that ain't the point. The point is. That's what he say, but he say it so fast with this Seguin, Texas accent. I couldn't understand anything he said. But the point is, to get to the point, that you play, and you're sort of like that Niggerhazy guy, Nighazy, or that Hungarian guy that Harold discovered on the streets of New York, Harold Schoenberg.
Nirgazi.
Yeah, Nirgazi. Yeah, that's it. You remember that, Anna? This crazy guy was on the street of New York, and Harold Schoenberg, who was a friend of mine, he said, yeah, I found this guy on the street. I made him famous. I said, yeah, only you, Harold. You're the only ones that could have done that. That's for sure.
He was coming out around the same time. You used to hear a lot about Lazar Berman as well.
Yeah, he was a Bowery bum. He was in the streets of New York feeding off garbage, hamburgers from McDonald's out of the garbage. I'm telling you. Then he played at Carnegie Hall. He wasn't a very good pianist. I hated his playing, but it's interesting. But you remind me of him in a good way, not a bad way, okay? So, yeah, musically, you're very advanced. You have a very unique address musically to us, the audience. It's very, very colorful and very mysterious in a way. It's almost mercurial, it's like, you're all over the place. It's very, very strange, but very beautiful. All of it has all the character you have in the very beginning. Like I said, I think the beginning should be more risoluto, but you convince me. I don't know what that is, but whatever it is, it's very entertaining. It's very entertaining. Then you go all those. Come on, I can't hear one freaking note. But the thing is, it's absolutely it's like effervescent. Wouldn't you agree, David? This is a good Liverpool word, effervescent. It's effervescent. I mean, I played this concerto and I know every nook and cranny of it, but you played it in such a way that I have to vomit up all my past pretense and convention. We all have some convention, right? And so, yeah, this is to a person I know, and I hope they're listening because I hate convention. It's like, I hate it. I can't stand policemen. You know what I mean? I just want to, I want to grab them by the neck and just twist their necks off. I mean, they're so screwed up and corrupt. I can't stand it. Corruption really bothers me. But anyway, so in the development, I mean, this concerto, you have to admit, it's really genius. I mean, it's like no other concerto, and the meandering in this concerto and the passing notes, the passing tones, how he gets from a harmony. I mean, Beethoven could never write this concerto. He's just, poor guy, has no counterpoint. He has no idea how to get from one chord to the next except to go boom, and then he goes boom. I mean, he's just like, he's all over the place in the Pathétique. I tried to show somebody the other day how mediocre that sonata is, and they go, "No, this is Beethoven. This is the greatest Beethoven." It's like all this blowhard nonsense. The fact is, what's great about Beethoven is that it's always so sudden, right? The subito thing. That's it. That's the whole deal. I mean, he's really a third-rate, mediocre, whatever. But Mozart, he's just so phenomenal. I mean, what was that passage you did? You brought out all the contrapuntal points. Yeah. Yeah. And then the left hand comes in and everything. But the thing is, if you don't mind me saying so, David, you need to slow it down a little bit. Okay? Just slow it down. Yeah, just slow. It's not a matter of harmonic impetus, harmonic tension, harmonic, all the things that we always talk about that make a great musician. It's there, but just calm down. It's like, just bring it down a notch, babe.
Adrenaline.
No, don't give me that. That's baloney. Every note in that chord should ring. Like almost like single notes. You go brum, brum. I mean, come on, we don't need that. We don't want that, but you want it, so that makes it beautiful. You see what I mean?
Very convincing, yep.
But it's very convincing. It's very convincing, but it's not all there. Okay, so you just got to make it all there. So we, the little people, think of the little people. We need to hear it. No, you're the big people. That that thing in the second movement. Da 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 dee da 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 dee da 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 da. I mean, whoever thought of something like that but Mozart? But you're like Mozart. You're recomposing or decomposing the piece as you go. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like you're destroying it, but you're building it. It's really kind of interesting. Like you tear down all the conventions and then you bring it into a whole new light. I mean, I could go through every passage. It's all like that, David. You're David Grant to the T. It's like you're all David. You're like King David. King David. Okay. Do you play the lyre, by the way, or the harp?
I've been called the lyre, but no, I don't play a lyre.
Okay, go on to the next peanut gallery. Let's go. Forget it. You're phenomenal, David. Phenomenal playing.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
It's so good to see you.
Maestro, would you like to add some to the comments?
Hello, David. This is David Wroe speaking. A delight to make your personal and your artistic acquaintance.
Likewise.
I'd just like to ask just a couple of questions. Tell me very, very briefly, because our time is short, but just tell me a little about your career. Tell me a little about what you do.
2 weeks of piano lessons. Well, I was trained as a concert pianist, whatever that means. My father was my first teacher, and then I was in various schools, and I also spent some time in the record industry, doing session work, various recordings, and producing, and then I did a lot of work as a composer, writing music for music library and for television. I did a lot of work in television. I've scored some films, and now I'm trying to get back into playing. I'd like to do some teaching. I'd like to get hooked up with a university, maybe, get a position there, and really focus on my composing work with piano, uh, and improvising.
Okay, interesting, very interesting, very varied career so far, and diverse, wonderful. You know, what Richie Atamian said is really very, very astute, and really, also in my opinion, sums you up. It is quite extraordinary playing, and 100%. I mean, very unique, and absolutely. Richie said it. This is David Grant, all all over, stamped on this piece, all over the place. So the question is, what is that? And why is it? Is it because? And I think this, what I'm about to say, is the question is slightly rhetorical, because I think it's an element of all these things. I think is it because you have this very interesting, in a way, very musical approach to the piece? Is it because there's so many things bubbling in your head, so many fantastic things bubbling in your head when you're playing, but somehow it's coming out a bit scrambled, a bit like the connection isn't, like an internet connection that isn't quite there between your brain and what you're playing. Is it that you actually have decided you want to internalize it so much that it's purely, you're in this world yourself, whereby like maybe you're not on the planet, but you're you're internalizing it, so you're in your whole beautiful world in a way, or is it that because you're in so much of your own world, you've forgot some of the discipline that unfortunately we all have to adhere to in living our lives? I mean, I think it's a combination of all those things to create something actually that I enjoyed very much. And I mean that most sincerely. Very unconventional, but sometimes I thoroughly enjoyed it and thought, wow, this is exceptional. But then other times I was reminded, this is a bit odd. So it's a bit like your performance was a bit like, if you come out of your house and you're wearing this most fantastic jacket, and it's silk, and it's the colors are vibrant, but then I look down and you forgot to put your pants on. It's.
Have you been my window? Have you been watching me?
I mean, I'm trying to say this in a humorous way. It's.
Yeah.
You are a very, very musical person, David. So, in general, I would say, well, I think it's an honest question. Do you want to adhere a little more to convention? Because is that your musical personality? I don't know.
If I may.
I think that's the question. Also, I would agree with Richie on saying I think some of it, for me, the last movement was a little fast. Therefore, I think the tempo was getting in the way of what you were wanting to express. It was just a bit muddled. I couldn't hear certain notes. But then Richie again very astutely pointed out that other passages, if it would have gone any slower, then it wouldn't have been you, and it would have lacked the bravado, the joie de vivre that you do bring to it. So I'm kind of confused myself what to do there. But
would you like me to respond?
Well, in a minute, I just want to finish off.
We don't want you to respond.
There's the only other thing I would say is I do believe in Mozart, line is important, and sometimes the style that you played for me, particularly in the right hand, was a little how can I say? It was there were these little momentary explosions and thrusts, and then the antithesis of thrust disappearing to the most magnificent pianissimo within the space of 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 notes, which sometimes worked very well, but sometimes was the musical equivalent of Tourette's syndrome.
Yeah.
And so I think you've got to find a middle ground in that very, very clever sometimes use of suddenly ending a phrase pianissimo or suddenly thrusting forward in a run for 4 or 5 notes and then coming back. Leon Fleischer was a great mentor of mine. He was very good at doing this, but yeah. I think you've got to find a balance between it being magnificently beautiful and a little ridiculous.
Okay. Thank you, David, very much.
I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, and David Grant, I hope you are enjoying the commenting and the feedback. I don't know how often you get a chance to hear unfiltered feedback from your colleagues. I always treasure it because that's a gift. Which the more we grow, the more older and established we become, the more rare that gift comes our way. And I want to add my own admiration of the very eccentric way you've interpreted the piece, and the eccentric part of it actually is extremely engaging and appealing. I agree with my colleagues, and it's your decision to play the concerto that way, and you will be able to hear your own performance on the video of this broadcast, because we keep everything available for public after the performance and the comments and everything. And it's very hard to suggest anything to the person who brought so much uniqueness to the piece.
Yeah.
And Mozart, being known for being an eccentric person and innovative composer, might very well agree with this interpretation. But the approach itself definitely, to me, speaks to the Mozart's personality. He had that little tongue in the cheek in his music. That's very clear. Thank you so much for bringing this piece, which is not very often performed, and for bringing it in such an unusual way, and really opening our ears to explosion of new ideas.
Thank you for your comments, and thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah.
Very much.
Oh, definitely.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much. And please thank again for us all the support you received from the Steinway Gallery, and we are very, very happy to collaborate with your colleagues out there. This is a beautiful venue, and a wonderful piano you were playing on. That's very grateful.
Speaking with you again and meeting all of you.
Thank you.
David, great. We'll talk sometime.
Yes, this performance concludes today's presentation of the auditions. These are finals of the auditions. People were selected to perform in these finals. Musicians are, again, I'm reminding everyone that musicians are auditioning for the opportunity to perform at one of the 7-concert season at Weill Recital Hall at Carnegie Hall, where we present performances with orchestras and solos and ensembles, new compositions, quartet music. It's a big variety. Every one of those concerts is called Gala concert for a reason, because we present a wide variety of genres and styles and periods of music, including newly composed music, all the way from down through the centuries to the Baroque music and everything in between. And today we had with us 2 judges, Jack Price, founder of the Price Attractions artist management company and artist advocate and a phenomenal pianist of his own right, and David Wroe, maestro, who is the music director of the Orchestra Manhattan and the orchestra which is performing in 2 of the concerts of the season at Carnegie Hall with our program, as well as participating in the project of recording and publishing albums with the Cicerone Music and Arts, the company in Netherlands and Italy. And with this, we will say goodbye to our candidates and to our wonderful judges. And I want to thank again all the collaborators who have helped us in the past and are helping us develop these projects. There's many projects going on, auditions, like I said, for the Carnegie Gala concerts, also for call orchestra, for performances with orchestras worldwide, and we are blessed with collaboration of 15 orchestras at the moment in different countries, and this don't want to say list, this group, this community of orchestras is growing, and we are so happy to see orchestras supporting artists. And we stream on all major platforms, video and social media platforms. It's a live broadcast of auditions, concerts with orchestras, opera houses, solo performances of artists from different countries. We are also on many dedicated curated websites for musicians, and we're very grateful for collaborating with those organizations as well. And I want to thank our wonderful virtual concert halls production team, with the musicians and audio engineers, broadcast designers, graphic designers, all this big community of musicians who are also doubling as supporters of musicians. And we're very thankful for today's tech support from our technical director, Frane Rusinovich, and James Welch, who were preparing musicians for their performances on virtual stage on the back end in our virtual green rooms. We are also very, very grateful for our director of the show, Ante Božić Kudrić today, and Marco Borna. So thank you all very much, and I will be saying goodbye. I was Anna Ouspenskaya hosting for you from Washington, D.C. See you again soon. Bye.